This is Charlie from Red Blue Talk. My channel is all about how politics and government impact your own life. It all came together yesterday in Mark Zuckerberg's testimony in front of the United States Senate. I want to peel back the layers of what's going on here, play back a little piece of tape, talk about what the senators said, Cambridge Analytica. He talked a lot about the user agreement. I'm going to get into all that, as well as some specific tips on how you can improve your own Facebook experience, make it a little bit more manageable, and make yourself a little bit less vulnerable to the misuse of your personal habits and personal information on the internet. Now, interrelated to that, I need to do a little bit of business with America. So, when you use the internet, you are connecting to your internet service provider's network, and the information goes back and forth in the clear. That means it's not encrypted, and anybody can see where you're going on the internet if they've got access to what's called a DNS server. Your ISP maintains this system that allows you to look up the names of websites, and it is in the clear, folks. You need to get a VPN. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. I've been selling these kinds of products for 20 years. That's how I know what I'm talking about. It is now at the point where every single person connected to the internet needs their own personal VPN. This company called Private Internet Access does a pretty good job. Their service is about $3 a month. You can go to privateinternetaccess.com/redbluet and check it out. And I would appreciate it if you would do that. I think it's absolutely worth your while. Now, let's get into talking about Mark Zuckerberg. So let's play this short clip, and then we'll come back and discuss.
Mr. Zuckerberg, would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
Um, no.
No, it's
If
funny.
you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
Senator, no, I would probably not choose to do that publicly here.
I think that may be what this is all about. Your right to privacy, the limits of your right to privacy, and how much you give away in modern America in the name of, quote, connecting people around the world.
So the guy speaking is Senator Dick Durbin, and I think he really boiled down the most essential fact here, which is when you use Facebook, you're providing Facebook, which is a company, with access to a lot of data about your use of the internet, who you're connecting with. Every time you click like, every time you make a comment, or you use a word in a comment, or you write a post of your own, anything that you do is accessible and usable and used by Facebook for a whole variety of purposes. But underlying it all, they sell ads. That's how they make money. So one of the senators gave a specific example where he was talking about chocolate on Facebook, and then he started receiving ads related to chocolate. Well, it turns out that Facebook actually does give you a way to block that, but most people don't know about it, which comes across as kind of like, well, we give you a way to know about this. We have a user agreement that spells out what we're going to do, and it's up to the end users to police themselves. The problem with that underlying theory is that the whole thing has grown so large, nobody's reading those agreements. I've never read the user agreement for Facebook, but I kind of know how stuff works, so I kind of take my own steps to make sure that it's an experience that's a little bit more bearable. I also found that generally, even these older guys like Dick Durbin, Senator Amy Klobuchar, that woman from California, Kamala Harris, they looked pretty good asking these questions. I felt like their line of questioning was cogent and thoughtful, that it wasn't prosecutorial, because some of them are former prosecutors and most of them are attorneys. But I thought that this was a situation where I was actually kind of proud that the U.S. Senate looked like they knew what they were talking about, and they looked good because they're actually considering regulating something that probably should be regulated and will be regulated and is regulated more heavily in other places. What I did not hear was any specific discussion of the idea that this is immensely successful company, right? I mean, Facebook is just one of these incredible American entrepreneurial success stories. Or Zuckerberg has amassed a net worth of $62 billion. In a different part of the world, they would call him an oligarch, but here we call him an entrepreneurial success or a billionaire or whatever you want to call him. He's able to do that because America provides a system that allows him to do it, right? To collect people's personal information and make a commercial product out of it. And it has now grown to a point where it probably does need to be regulated. And I think even Zuckerberg was willing to acknowledge that. What's galling about his testimony is that he acknowledges that data has been misused. And it's like, oh, gee golly, I run Facebook and I'm responsible for it, but that's not going to absolve him of the sin of allowing personal data for 78 million people to be misused and resold and profited from. So I don't know exactly where this goes from here. I do notice a couple of things about this Cambridge Analytica thing, which is it really underscores that there is a bit of a monopoly problem with Facebook because it only works well if everybody's on the system. I've used Facebook to purchase ads for local political campaigns. I've used Facebook to purchase ads to help recruit students for a charter school. I've used Facebook for commercial purposes, and I found it very valuable. And the reason that it works so well is because you can target really, really specifically at a fairly inexpensive price. That only works because so many people use the system. It is, in essence, kind of like a public square. So there have to be rules around what you can do with the data that you collect. Now, unfortunately, one negative thing against Zuckerberg is that he kept on leaning back on this idea that, if he doesn't know the answer, I don't know the answer, but I'll have my team get back to you. I think I heard that one too many times. And what I also heard one too many times is this idea that there's a user agreement that covers this. The user agreement is the biggest bunch of baloney in the entire world. We all click on these user agreements frequently. You want to use a particular service, you want to use an online tool that lets you create artwork. So you go there and you check it out, and if you want to use it, you provide your username, you create a password, and you click on a user agreement that's probably 20 or 30 screens long. Some of them are even more. You click through to the bottom as fast as you can, and you click OK. You don't know what you're agreeing to. But in many cases, you're agreeing to allow your data to be resold and reused. But here's the core detail that they left out. Where you're really making the mistake is when you use a service that uses authentication by Facebook. So in other words, log in using my Facebook account. If you've ever seen that, the moment that you click on that, you then authorize that application to use the Facebook API to gain access to other information. Let me explain that in very simple terms. Suppose I want to use some widget on the internet, some website that allows me to create artwork, and it says log in using Facebook. The minute you click on that thing, you are authorizing an API, a little piece of programming that allows that drawing program to go out to Facebook and get your identity information and any other information that Facebook has collected. That is where I think the biggest problem occurs, and that's where the problem was with Cambridge Analytica. And what's sickening and inexcusable is that Facebook knew this was going on for years, and they did nothing about it. And they believed that Cambridge Analytica wasn't abusing the data. They said, well, you told us that you got rid of all the copies of the data. You told us that you're not misusing it. We believe you. Everything's okay. That's inexcusable, and that's why the boot of the U.S. Senate is on Zuckerberg's neck right now. Now, let's talk about a couple of specific things that you can do to make Facebook a little bit more bearable. So check out this screen right here. If you go to the top right corner of your Facebook page, which, by the way, Facebook is great on mobile. Most of us are using it on a mobile device, and I'm all for that. I'm not against it. But once in a while, you got to log into Facebook using a regular computer because it's much easier to manipulate these very minute details within the user interface. So you click on the right little triangle in the top right corner of the Facebook screen, and you're going to go to Settings. And then after you go to Settings, you go to something called Apps and Websites. These this is a list of other websites that are allowing data access via Facebook. This is where Cambridge Analytica was getting your data from, okay? So, for example, I've allowed Twitter to access Facebook because when I post something to Twitter, I want to automatically have it show up on Facebook. Same for these other applications. Now, here's one called Game Connect. I don't know what the hell that is. I don't remember when I authorized it. I probably did. I don't remember. I'm going to click on it, and I'm going to remove it. Boom. That's it. I'm removing Game Connect BestX, whatever the hell that is. If you remove Game Connect, it may delete your Game Connect account and activity. Good. I don't want it. I don't even remember setting it up. Also, delete all posts, photos, and videos that on Facebook that Game Connect BestX may have published on your behalf. Yeah, get rid of it. Goodbye. That's what you want to do. Okay, you want to get rid of all of the interconnected apps and games, active websites and active apps that are connecting using an API to Facebook to access information on your account. It's what you want to get rid of. All right, here's one more thing you can do. One of the senators alluded to, he was looking at chocolate on Facebook, and then he started getting ads for chocolate. Here's how you can turn that off. You go to the triangle, and then you go to settings, and then once you're in settings, you go to ad preferences. And then in ad preferences, it says, let me make this big enough for you to see the whole thing. I think you can see it. There you go. So you go to ad settings, and it says ads. Do you want to receive ads based on your use of websites and apps? Can you see online interest-based ads from Facebook? You click no. That's what you got to do. Ads on apps and websites off of Facebook companies. I'm going to change that to no. How do I change it? You come down here. If you allow your Facebook preference ad preferences to be used, you'll see ads that are more interesting to you. If you don't allow your Facebook ad preferences to be used, you'll still see ads, but they won't be as relevant. See, Zuckerberg made it sound like they're doing the world some big favor by shoving ads in front of you that are related to words in posts that you've made. I don't agree with that. So I'm going to click no. And that's it. And then you come down here, and that's it. It's all set. So those are a couple things that you can do to privatize or make at least give you a little bit more control over your user experience on Facebook. Facebook is not evil unto itself. It only works if there's a gigantic network effect where billions of people participate in it, which makes the ad marketplace very valuable. But you got to take a little bit of control over how the thing works, and that really does. Ultimately, it's going to depend on the end user because the government can only regulate it so much. And as we can see, if you don't take control over it, Facebook will take control over you. All right, this has been Red Blue Talk. Please click like, please subscribe to this channel. It means the world to me when you do that. I've got a very small number of subscribers in the YouTube space, but I'm getting there. I'm building up, and every little bit helps. So thank you for doing that, and I hope that this was valuable. I'll see you next time. RedBlueTalk.com, YouTube.com/RedBlueTalk, and of course I'm on Facebook @RedBlueTalk, on Twitter. Thank you, everybody. Bye.